Hello and welcome. Silrace here with Overwatch, and I am in the practice range. I want to give a few tips and tricks on Mei. Granted, I don't have a whole lot of playtime on Mei myself at this point, but I have done a little bit of thinking and testing things out in this practice range anyways, on basically all the heroes. But this is about Mei. So, first things first, let's talk about Ice Wall first. This particular wall, which you place, you click the button, it gives you this nice indicator of where your wall will be. Now, if you press the button once again, it changes its orientation. So you can swap it around, like this. All you have to do is click the same activation key once again. You can see my activation key for the ice wall at the bottom right, next to the gun. Right? That's simple. Unfortunately, this information is not even present here in the ability description. It frankly should be, but it is not. Well, now you know. If you watched this particular video, now you know. Okay. Another thing about ice wall, which I do want to show off, is that it allows Mei to actually get to elevated positions if you want to, like on top of this stack of crates. You can use this to, well, get the enemies out of certain positions by placing the wall under them, or help yourself or your allies to get to elevated positions for whatever odd reason you might want to, you know, go up somewhere. Now, all of that said, let's talk about Mei's gun. Specifically, I'll talk about the right mouse button. That is the default key for the alternate fire, which works like that. The left click is the primary fire, is the beam. Right. Now, the alternate fire charges up, as you can see. But you do not need to hold the key for it to charge. You just click the key once and it charges up and fires once the charge is done. What this allows you to do is, if I hide away here, this is worth practicing actually. You can charge up in cover and then move to fire around that cover. As you can see. Oops, that one was missed. See what I mean? Do you see what I mean? You can charge it up in cover, you can move out of the cover to fire. This allows you to prime fire around the corner and then fire around the corner with very minimal exposure time on yourself. Which is really useful. Really useful. Because it means that, well, you only pop out for a very brief amount of time, and look at how much damage this thing does, even on a body shot. Even on a body shot, it does a whole lot of damage. Then again, these things are being constantly shot at, so yeah. But you get the point, right? You get the point. So, ice wall can be rotated, you can poke around corners with this particular thing. It moved. There is the droid. And hide behind a cover. On the final tab, this is a situation which does not occur very often, which is why I'm leaving it for the very final tab pass. Mei versus Mei duel. This thing happens, well, very rarely, but it can occasionally come to be. And unfortunately, at the time I'm recording this, I couldn't get anybody to hop into a test room with me, but I have tested this out prior in a custom game anyways. So, people like to do this whole freezing up business, right? You freeze an enemy and then you shoot them in the head with the right click, right? With the alternate fire. In a Mei versus Mei duel, that is a bad idea. Two secondary fires fire faster than freezing out. And if you are the first Mei to start the freezing out process, then you will always freeze the other Mei first if you are trying to do that duel. You get what I mean? If you start the beaming first, and then the other Mei starts beaming back, then of course the one who started first gets to do the freeze. So if you end up in a Mei versus Mei duel, two of these will win you that duel. Obviously if you get really late in it and she already started freezing you, then it's quite likely you're going to die. But if you're just, you know, you are very quick on your trigger finger and very quick on, well, noticing her, two of these, two alternate fires fire faster than it takes to actually freeze a target and then fire at it. Something to take note of, even though it's a very rare occurrence, it might come up in your play, and come and practice this. This is actually fun, right? This is really fun. Suddenly I want to play Mei some more after I discovered this particular thing. You can poke around corners like crazy with the right mouse button with the alternate fire, with very little exposure time on yourself, because of how it functions. Very nice. And let's go back up here for the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this was helpful to somebody somewhere.